Welcome Libra to your in-depth monthly horoscope for August 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout features to begin with, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater detail all the ins and outs and timings particularly relevant to your sign. Now, your ruling planet, of course, is Venus, and Venus is going to be spending the whole of this month in retrograde. Now, that does potentially have some challenges, but there's some enormous opportunities, Libra, that I can't wait to share with you. Not least in week one, a beautiful link between Venus and the North Node, newly alighted in your sector of relating, looks very promising. Also, at the heart of this month, Venus forges such a close tie with the Sun, a cazimi, it's going to magnify the way that you can connect to others, particularly through your social life and your friendship situation. So that's really exciting news too. So there's a lot more to share with you. Please stay with me for more. I'd like to share with you a very special opportunity. This year is absolutely racing by, and year 2024 is speeding towards us. However, if you order your year 2024 personal horoscope forecast now, based on your unique birth data, I will prepare for you the rest of year 2023 free of charge. But also within my package of 30% off, you can get your character analysis report, your life roadmap. This helps you to understand the patterns that have played out in your journey so far. Some of these definitely give us opportunities, but others can be more challenging, and a more intimate understanding of these helps us to seize our potential more firmly. Please see the link beneath this video for more on this unique opportunity. So Libra, let's unpack what August 2023 holds for you. Begins with a full moon, and that is in the sign of Aquarius, your sister air sign. Very much about interacting socially, demonstrating your flair, really providing a stage for you to shine in terms of all that lights you up and is warm. On the other part of the heavens is the Sun and your ruler Venus in its retrograde. Now they're in the most friendly part of your situation, but sometimes by being rather too much of a people pleaser, I think Libran people can kind of get caught up in trying to lean into other people's needs and lose a little bit of identity. So this full moon is a wonderful opportunity to assert what you want from situations. And you know, Saturn is actually going to be your ally in the first 4 days of this month in its opposition to Mercury, because it's going to provide a more sobering vibration to this very vibrant full moon and just make you err a little bit more to the side of caution, because there are two other big influences at the start of this month featuring Jupiter. Jupiter expands our reality, and for you it's in House 8, which can be to do with sex, it can be to do with financial investment, pensions, savings, mortgages, business ideas, but Jupiter is square into the Sun. So that could give you a real sense of optimism, which is larger than life, and give you a real dynamism about a long-term plan, the Sun in Leo. But I wouldn't be too quick to get to the place where you are absolutely convinced this is going to work out to you, because Jupiter also forges a very constructive link to Mars, but Mars is tucked away in a very psychological area. So that combination can give you a lot of drive, a lot of desire to achieve what you need, and the Sun and Jupiter, the push to have the confidence to go for it, and the full moon's encouraging you to focus on what's good for you, the individual. So why would I say Saturn opposite Mercury is a good thing? Well, because I feel it will act as an anchor. Because Mercury, like Mars, is in your 12th house, quite a psychological area, I feel that this can just help to keep you grounded. Saturn in the sign of Pisces is going to play an important role all of this month. It's in your 6th house of sacrifice along with Neptune, but it is in retrograde like Neptune, and it is going to forge a conjunction with the blue moon, which occurs in conjunction with the full moon right at the end of this month. So you're going to get a little bit of an alert through Saturn opposite Mercury and Saturn opposite the position of the Sun in Virgo at the end of the month, but conjunct the moon in Pisces on the 31st. And both those influences are asking you just to be a little bit cautious. So although there's very expansive, encouraging energy at the start of this month, I just feel that Saturn will help you to peer into a situation in a more critical way. Because you are someone that can, be so given and thoughtful towards other people, with Mercury going into its pre-retrograde shadow, then retrograde on the 23rd, and also the Sun moving into your 12th house on the 23rd too, this month does get more psychological as it goes along. So even though it starts off with the Sun and your ruler Venus in the very warm, very sociable, very interactive 11th house, just be mindful that that's also the area that's about our future planning. And I think the opposition between Mercury and Saturn is just flagging to you early on that however big and wonderful an idea might be, or a group of friends may seem, or however attractive a particular person might be, trust and the people who are really going to have your back are going to be big features of this month as it unfolds. So that's why I'm creating that overall context for you. However, it is true that that link between Jupiter and Mars, if we think that Jupiter can be about trade, Mars can be about desire, it could be a secret longing for something or someone. Is there somebody that you're really feeling very locked into at the start of this month? Wouldn't be an entire surprise, and nor would it be an entire surprise if this person was in your friendship group. Perhaps that full moon is you looking at the friendship group and thinking, I really admire one particular person. How do I cultivate this association? Well, the truth is that with Venus in the 11th house, your warmth and diplomacy, often great qualities of yours, but also, you do know how to get on with people tactically. You can cultivate, you can be more strategic, but the link with Venus and the North Node suggests that some kind of spiritual connection in the first week of this month is entirely within your grasp. And then, as the Sun and Venus come together in the Cazimi on the 13th, they're pretty much in touch from the 11th to the 14th. Although Mercury is forging a great link with Jupiter in week 2, I do feel that this is a very dominating influence between Venus and the Sun, because the Sun is the ruler of Leo, it's in its home zone, and it is going to magnify the brilliance of your ruler despite the retrograde. But the 11th house, friendship, the future, Venus the retrograde, well, perhaps there are times, Libra, when you can be a little bit too persuaded by how things seem, or if people seem pleasant, because you don't really like so much the more grittier parts of, or the more challenging parts of interactions, because you would prefer it all to be in balance. So perhaps what's really manifesting this month with the retrograde of Venus is to be as realistic as possible, and that's why Mercury going into its pre-retrograde shadow on the 4th, and that clash with Saturn early on, is just that little bit of a reminder to keep a bit of a guard up. Then, in terms of a commercial possibility, business, Mercury's link with Jupiter in week 2 is very good, and then we have that conjunction between the Sun and Venus. However, on the 16th, the new moon in your sector of friendship and long-term planning is influenced very strongly by Uranus. So first of all, Jupiter clashes with the Sun, then Uranus. What does this mean? They're in house 8. That's where you want to be very invested. It's where you want to, in a tangible sense, see finances strong. Can be to do with savings. The 11th house is more idealistic, Business and pleasure definitely do not mix this month. So at the heart of this month on that new moon, if there is someone you're attracted to, just be aware that the friendship could be at stake if it runs its course and it turns out to be a fling. With Uranus in the mix, a fling is possible. The 8th house can be about sex. So you could find yourself pulled towards someone in your friendship group because the full moon's pushing you to go for what you need as an individual. Venus's conjunction with the sun is really igniting your desire, and that desire could be around someone that you know already, or you get introduced through someone you know, a mutual friend. But just be aware the reality, the fallout from the situation can happen through house 8, transformation, but also house 12, because on the 23rd, the sun moves into house 12 and Mercury in this location goes retrograde. So the last 10 days of this month can be more challenging, I feel, even though Mars does move into your sign on the 28th. That will bring you into the present in a very positive way, and the following 6 weeks can see you very dynamic. But 12th house energy with a retrograde to Mercury, it does suggest to me that you're going to be questioning and maybe feeling a little bit more worrisome about certain elements of your situation. So if Jupiter and Uranus encourage you to go for it in a big way around business or around a relationship early in the month, just be aware that there could be quite a cold come down later in the month. So it's quite a cool breeze that comes into your situation in the latter part of August. As long as you know that, it's fine. Uranus goes retrograde on the 29th, and that is interesting. Uranus is very much about higher truths. Doesn't like being in Taurus, as we know. It's a fixed sign, and Uranus is about change. Taurus is about money, and in your case about longer term money, property, investments, insurances, pensions, legacies. And Uranus going retrograde in that area may see you need to rethink around your longer term financial planning. Uranus is of course about innovation. If you're someone who's very open to change, you'll deal with this retrograde fine. If the world or your mode of employment is changing around you and you're finding that challenging, Uranus retrograde could be a time to try to familiarise yourself with the reality of that change. However, the blue moon, which occurs on the 31st, is, if I'm really honest, quite a tough one, because the position of the moon in Pisces, house 6, sacrifice, physical health, your work, obligations, responsibilities, is very close to Saturn. And Saturn's already in retrograde in this area, asking you to look after yourself as well as you can, whereas the position of the sun in the sign of Virgo is in that psychological and more emotional and spiritual sphere, the 12th house. But that can be where the people who don't necessarily have our best interests at heart are operating, but not in an open way. Now Mars in your sign now is forging a good link to the Sturgeon moon position in the sign of Pisces, in the sense that Mars can help you to assert what you want as an individual, but you may be trying to deal with something but not having all the information to hand. So I think the last part of this month is going to be a lot to do with reflection, being conscious of who you can rely upon, getting more aware of who you can't rely upon. Some fair weather friendships may be revealed. Some old worries or anxieties could come into the open again. So if you can use the larger than life energies at the start of this month in a tempered way, and that's what the opposition between Mercury and Saturn at the start of the month helps you to do, by the end of the month, if you're staying in touch with perhaps the lower end of your spectrum of expectation, and that's not to say that you should think things down at all, but just be very realistic, you can still go for some big targets, but just be aware of how things may unfold. So work out what the outcomes could possibly be and then commit yourself to your mode of action. If you're sure you want to go for it, I definitely think there are some real opportunities there, especially if you're finding things out behind the scenes, getting to know information by doing research, taking soundings, asking people their opinions quietly, confidential advice or information could be of great assistance to you this month, Libra. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like, comment, share, or subscribe.